All right. Me up in another coaching session today. Voice it. Make sure everything's good. Seems good. Get on my other account. All right, perfect. Hope everyone's doing good. Been a kind of a long day for me so far, but you know, not complaining at all. It's been a good day for me. Hey, how we doing? Uh, all right. So I'm all ready. So obviously there's two options mainly for coaching. You know, you can send me vods for us to look over, or we can do live coaching. I assume you're gonna send me vods though, because that's probably the best way to do it. Mhm. And are you primarily a Winston player? I believe I forget exactly what you put for your Fiverr thing. Quick. Are you like specifically looking to improve on Winston as a hero, or just the tank role in general? Kind of. Oh, I see. Okay, so very heavily focused on Winston. All right. No, that's perfect. I love it. I'm a Winston enjoyer myself for sure. So, uh it'll be this will be awesome. Dang. That's some that's some commitment. Dang. Got it. So yeah, let's get more into that. So, when did you start playing Overwatch? Mm. Like so like you started around like season like 10 to 20 around that area, right? Got it. What made you swap to like focus on Winston out of curiosity? Oh, the Dark Ages. Oh, kind of like switched to one tricking Winston somewhat, not recently, but like in the past like five or so seasons, you'd say. Okay, interesting. And have you played on like a more team environment, or mostly just player? Oh, okay. Do they just hard focus on Winston, or do you play with a another curiosity? Dang, that sounds fun. That sounds really fun. Okay, well, I mean, that's about all the questions I got. So if you just send me a VOD, we can start to look at it. Are we looking to review like a ranked game or more scrim setting? For sure. Oh wait, okay, wow. Hot off the press. So you'll basically remember most of what happened in the game. Perfect. Great. I haven't been able to do a lot of like scrim reviews, so I'm always that's always fun because there's a lot of variables you can't control in comp, but definitely still like definitely ways you can improve. Ah, I see, I see. Are you guys doing OD? The dive, yeah, the dive thing, whatever it's called. Ah, okay. All right. Well, what do you think your not like a blockade, but like what do you think your biggest issues are before we start kind of looking at play on Winston? Like what do you feel like you're weakest against? You had to say Junker Queen and Diva. Yeah, so yeah, so you're gonna run into Junker Queen mainly, but also quite a few people who will pull out the Diva because they don't want to take the Winston v Winston. I think people who play Winston are different. Sorry, I'll keep cutting you off. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm glad like there's a patch coming out soon. Okay, well, with Queen, so obviously we're in a situation right here. This map is kind of favorable to us, right? Because we can take battles whenever we feel like it by dropping down, right? We don't necessarily have to take fights. So let's see how we take a fight here. Because I'm not gonna review the basics of Winston with you because I'm pretty sure you got quite the basics down. Um, but one thing I will say with Winston, right, is cooldown usage, obviously, but also we want to make sure that when we use a cooldown, we're able to either control space really, really hard, or we're using a cooldown to get another cooldown out, right? So I think in this instance, I don't know if they remember if they use a cooldown, but what I really like to do specifically on like Dorado is drop down and kind of hard use corner coverage on any part of the map, right? To basically not force out my bubble as well as to stick on a corner for as long as possible and force the enemy team to push into a position where my team can take advantage of, right? So, explain more of what I mean as we go through the map. Something to keep in mind, like how we drop down is very important. Because you notice, like, as soon as this cart comes around this corner, right, we go from a position where the enemy team is kind of pushing this way around this corner, and now the queen's set up in this super annoying position for us, and it doesn't feel like we can drop down at all, right? And we feel kind of useless at this point, right? And we have to burn a bubble just because we're low and this Genji's pressuring us, and then it kind of snowballs from there. So what a lot of good Winstons will obviously do is, you know, you're saving jump, you're doing the right thing, but when we drop, like for this first fight, first kind of drop, just looking how we drop here, right? We drop directly on and bubble on. Instead of doing that, we want to drop to the side, right? Or dropped a little, but drop to a corner and play around a corner. Makes sense. Just obviously to conserve resources, and we're the only thing stopping this cart from moving at the moment, so we don't want to be forced out or pressured out. Yeah, so this becomes super hard. We're putting a lot of pressure on our backline to keep us up, so they're not really able to get a lot of work done. So we keep jumping, jumping, and eventually we obviously have to give up roof, right? Which I would say actually you don't even have to give up roof there, right? Because imagine we get kind of like, oh, okay, I'm just getting pressured over and over. I gotta jump out. Instead, what if we just, okay, well, I'm getting pressured. I'm gonna like make sure because the only one who's going to be contesting here is Genji, right, on the top. So what if I just hide here, I wait for care, and don't care about the card for a second, like, forget where the card is, just look for what I can confirm as Monkey, right? Because Monkey's really good at splitting people apart from each other. Let me fix. So what I mean in this specific scenario, right? The main thing is we're thinking about our team as well. We're not just obviously thinking about us, because we can get value, but the main way that we're going to be consistently applying pressure is with our team, like playing for our team. So in this case, what's the main thing your team is getting super annoyed at, right? Probably not the Genji as much, the Ashe, right? This Ashe back here is just gonna get free shots, and your team is actively all looking to pressure out the Ashe. If you look where they're looking at, they're not looking at the Queen, they're not looking at anyone, they're looking at the Ashe, right? So you as Winston, I know if I give up this space and I jump out, well, now the Ashe is much more free to get work done. You can probably take the red roof where we just were with the Mercy Pocket, and it becomes much harder for our Fair to do anything. Which I think we eventually go on the Ashe, but
yeah, it got a bit scuffed.
But once again, where we're going from and how we drop or how we push is very important, right? Because you're going from here to here, which obviously you're going to take a ton of damage from there. But imagine if you dropped from here to here, right? So it's about setting ourselves up for the long run and what positions we can take, control, and dive from.
That makes sense. I
Yeah.
feel like maybe I was a bit impatient.
Yeah, you can get in this habit of Winston where you just want to be everywhere at once, and you gotta
Yeah, like a constant.
yeah, and you gotta kind of get in that mindset of, yes, I could dive there, but what is the best like solution? Like, is this a moment where I need to chill, maybe stabilize? Is this a moment where I'm super split from my team, so maybe I need to, you know, play a little bit for them or play a little bit slow? And maybe it's a point where, okay, well, I need to make something happen and I need to go, right? So in this scenario, right, from our point of view, I want to see what this looks like from our point of view. So we're dropping on cart here, and we see this queen going up to high ground. We hear the Ashe shooting at us. I think instead of just, oh, I hear the Ashe, I'm gonna go pressure the Ashe, right? Because I've got a Pharaoh, I need to go pressure. We need to think about what's gonna happen when I go pressure the Ashe, right? I see the
Yeah,
queen.
I think as I jumped, I felt that regret. I'm like, oh no, the
Yeah,
queen's gonna walk on my team.
I see the queen moving. I see the Kiriko moving. I'm like, there's an Ashe split. Oh my gosh, like we're gonna get pincered, right? There's people coming from all different directions. I just need to stabilize with my team, use a cooldown like a bubble or whatever, pressure out this queen or whatever, and fight with my team, and then I can take the jump, right? Because what happens when we jump? Holy crap, the queen's on our back line, like everyone's turning around and we have no care. I think I think it's also just at this point you're snowballing a bit from the first point, like first fights, because you got pressured out, right? They took a lot of space. Now you guys are still
Yeah, it
trying to
was a
hold this
bad.
high ground.
Yeah,
At this point, you notice how we're like we're kind of split from our team.
yeah. I feel I was just looking to back up there.
Yeah. So this is a resultant of like us fighting from here or try to like dive in for too long. When we when cart is a big point of when you're playing like payloads, etc. Cart is a big point of like concern, obviously, because if you dive or if you commit to something and you leave the cart unattended, it's gonna move, and the more the cart moves, the harder it is for you to play this point, right? Once the cart gets to, let's say, right here, now you're forced to dive into this cart or like play back and play for the cart. So
Yeah,
you as Winston need to recognize when you dive or when you make a play. Where's the cart, right? What's our priority? Because as soon as this cart gets under here, from my mind as a Winston, right, I'm like, okay, I no longer have control of this high ground, right? Because
yeah, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I feel the same.
yeah. So
Usually when it gets to that point, like just
yeah,
I guess we will rotate.
this cart's gonna move here, which means we're going from this direction to now we're going from this direction, and obviously you don't want to be diving into a team that's set up over here. But it's just something to be like, before I do a dive, check obviously where my team is, where I want to dive, where card is. I think that's just like a quick 3 checks mentally that you should do. I think I think the decision making is only like super like all over the place because we're trying to like do so much, right? We keep jumping around, we're like contesting the queen, then we go into the Ash, we're like it's super like non-committal in the sense that we're trying to like be at everywhere all at once, you know? But now this is a good scenario. We're hit with a nano, so let's see how we dive here. Okay, so we push, and then look how everything collapses around, right? As soon as we set up, we have a specific point. Like our team is kind of grouped up. I know there's only 2 people, but our team is grouped up. There's a specific dive we're going on, right? And it's a decent value. We get cooldowns out. Then everything else collapses, right? The Genji goes in, obviously, and gets antied. So that's like an even trade. Like the Genji's getting pressure. It's a 1v1 scenario. But we also pop this Valk, right? Because we see the Nano Monkey and the Queen peels off. Which what does that do? That frees up our Ana, frees up whoever's coming back to spawn to push back into a position where they're not going to be held at, right? So it's about when you're playing Winston, a lot of these things that you're trying to like do in the sense of I want to be in one direction, I want to be like here, here, here. You gotta realize that when you apply pressure to a certain spot and you control a space, it causes a reaction, right? So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, so sometimes we're trying to like do all these things, but if we do a solid dive, we just coordinate, play for our team, or do play for our team in the sense that we back up, and then it causes like it obviously people will react to the plays we make, right? So I think yeah, I'm kind of stumbling over myself, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I'm going full ape brain. Anyways, so I like the pressure. We keep up the pressure and we keep up the primal. Now when we primal, obviously we're just trying to at this point we're trying to displace this Ashe into our team. I think
Yep.
a big priority with this primal when we pop it, right? We know nothing's gonna die at this point.
Yeah, the Valk. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was. I guess I popped it to survive. I guess.
No, this primal's good. Yeah. So in this
Yeah.
scenario, the nano just runs out, right? Nano runs out. We force the TP. We're continuing to pressure the Kiriko, which is completely the right move. This primal, right? So my main thing, as soon as I pop this primal, and this Valk is active, what's the only way you're gonna be able to get a kill, right? The only way is if you displace someone away from the team enough, where this Valk isn't gonna be able to reach. So if you keep out
Yeah.
this primal, just keep always like when you jump at a target, always look for what corner you're trying to like place the target in, right? So in this point, you jump, you obviously miss this target with the Ashe. What I would do is jump back past the Ashe, obviously, and keep booping her past this into this kind of corner, right? Because what does that do? Even if it doesn't force, even if it doesn't, you don't get a kill here. So I think we kind of. How strong would you say your primals are? Because it is a big part of Winston ult.
I feel like I'm fairly. I'm not like the best, but it's. I feel like I'm fairly good at it.
I think a lot of people would try and like get a full-on juggle and like just go super mechanical with it. Your main thing is, so instead of doing like a full jump here, your main thing is you want to do like a half jump. Like a half jump to place yourself between the Ashe and the rest of our team and continue knocking her back. Because the main thing with this primal is you're going to be displacing this Ashe, which is going to cause a reaction, obviously. You're successfully getting the queen to back up and shoot at you. But it's also going to cause the Ashe to not have LOS or the ability to use like Bob, use a dynamite or whatever, or just put pressure on your team, right? Because in this case,
Yeah.
we boop her back. She's able to kind of send this Bob in, right? And then now she's taking position. We're super low with the primal. Our Echo managed to get value, but now we definitely have to back out, right? We just can't fight for 1 HP. We're gonna die. And then this Bob eventually wakes up, and it just becomes super hard for us. Where if you boop this Ashe away, maybe she panic bobs, like she has to use cooldowns or whatever. and then if she's far enough away, you're satisfied you can't get the kill, you can just jump back out, and then it becomes a 5v4 on point, and this Ashe is stuck trying to walk all the way back to get back into the fight, right? There's something to note with primals. Sometimes you're not gonna get a kill with primal. The peel's too good. They have ults. There's like you're not able to get a target off. The main thing is displacement. How do you want to displace the enemy team? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I think it's a Primal's a very high skill ceiling like ultimate where if you get really good at it, even if you're not able to confirm a kill because the peel's good, you just get so much more value than you would otherwise, where a lower ranked player might, not be able to get anything and just kind of panic with their primal. So now here we're pressuring, which
Yeah, the queen was very far forward, so I was like, okay.
okay,
It got very, very scuffed very quickly because I missed the jump there.
oof, that sucks.
um,
So the queen is very far forward, but
yeah,
we note the. So I think at this point we don't see the queen. Do we?
I hear her.
Oh, you do hear her
I assume she was under me.
under. Okay. Huh. Well, I do like this jump, right? But instead of putting pressure directly on the cart, think about how much pressure you apply just by sitting up here, right? Because obviously you're not gonna be able to like zap super well on the targets, but it
Yeah,
threatens it threatens you dropping down, right? Because the Genji's already turning. This Ashe is eventually, I believe, gonna turn, right? But either way, this drop down with bubble, sure you're gonna stall the cart out, but it also becomes really hard for your team, right? Because what what this team should do, or what would be a better option, is kind of ignore you for the moment, right? And
yeah,
focus their attention on the high ground and to control this, right? Because eventually you're gonna have to back out. And now obviously it's ranked, that doesn't really happen, but we do mess the
yeah.
jump.
Like
Then
in scrims, definitely, it would
yeah.
be
So
a whole different story.
yeah, so how would we play this instead then? Well, what we can do is we can sit up top, right? Sit up top, and then look for what our next location is, right? So if we turn around, we know the two supports are under us. So who are we gonna identify as targets? Well, this Genji. This Genji's right here. Obviously, we can jump, but he's probably gonna run at us anyways. But we see this Ashe, right? And now our Mercy and our Echo is up here as well, maybe. But this Ashe is here, and we can note, okay, I've got the supports kind of under cart. What if I drop down here, pressure supports a little, and then jump on the Ashe, right? Because then that splits the target. So I like the initial idea where we're jumping and we're kind of putting pressure on the point. Because this queen is not here, we're able to kind of like take the space. However,
Yeah,
right, don't just look to contest. We want to look to actually win this fight. Um, yeah. I
yeah,
do
that
like.
makes sense.
I do definitely like the initial idea though. Winston, because you've got a decently low jump cooldown, right? And if you cycle your bubble, you're able to sit in annoying spaces. It's just about using those spaces more to our advantage.
Yeah,
Now for the second point, definitely once again like an advantageous spot because we've got the high ground here. Our main concern with this queen is if she walks onto high ground. Otherwise, she's not really.
yeah,
So how
okay.
we take advantage of that is obviously when the queen walks, we can go. Right, that's our go button. However, this queen's probably not gonna walk. So in this scenario, what's our condition? Right, it's stopping the Ashe as well as sustaining from any pressure the Genji takes or the Kiriko, whatever. Right, and obviously we need to contest because we're the only ones really besides the Echo who's gonna be able to get back onto high ground, but our Echo's not gonna really want to do that. She's probably gonna die. So how do we do this on Monkey? Let's see what we can bubble, then we back up. Okay. So once again with our bubbles and our drops, I think it's a bit about timing, right? So here right here, I know we just use bubble, and we probably don't want to drop without bubble, but regardless, I would say just still drop, right? Because the main thing you want to fight as Monkey, and the main positions you want to drop and contest is around corners. Because you notice, even though you dropped a bubble here, the queen just walks past your bubble and shoots you right in the face. So your bubble isn't really going to help you um in the sense of taking a fight in this scenario, because bubble's only gonna obviously bubble you off, but
Yeah.
people can still walk past it and obviously shoot you. So you want to be playing corners. So dropping here, this is the first drop, and then this second drop, you dropping back here, and you playing right here, right?
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we're just dropping and we place down bubble and we think, okay, I'm safe, or like I can take this fight, and then the queen just walks past the bubble, and we get like look how much damage you just take on this first shot here. Like you're already at half HP, you get
Yeah. Already
axed,
half.
and you're like, I gotta jump out already. And this Genji just goes with blade as soon as you drop. But imagine like we drop, and then we hear the blade, we jump up, and we've got bubble now, and now we can like trade this mercy for our cast. Like it would have been a much better scenario. But instead we drop, we bubble, the queen runs at us, we take basically our entire health bar in like 2 seconds. We jump back up, we're dead immediately, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just play the wall more, I guess.
Yeah, play corners for the wall. Think about where they want to push in and look for that, right? Because you as Winston, obviously you can like take somewhat of a brawl against some heroes. Queen is definitely not one of them, right? Diva and Queen,
Yeah.
no,
Queen.
no,
Queen's very scary. You don't want
definitely,
to be.
yeah. So always use pillars, use corners to your advantage. Queen is Queen wants to play forward as well. So when she's playing a forward corner like this, keep pressure on her until she has to burn like a shout, tries to axe or whatever. And then what you can do is you jump past and you cut off healing, right? You cut off supports,
Yeah.
cut off
Mhm.
pressure, because that forces her to, okay, now if I want to back out, you're running into your supports, right? But you're not gonna be able to get healing, and then that allows your team to push forward. Because what you'll find on Winston is you go for an insane dive, you're doing really good, like you feel the dive is really valuable, and this queen just goes
Yeah.
funny mode and hits
And
E,
then kills
and
everyone.
yeah,
Mhm.
everyone's dead. So you've gotta not ignore this queen for sure. But obviously you can't take the 1v1, right? You can't just fight her like a tank v tank duel. So it's about being creative and also pressuring out her cooldown. So here, perfect, right? I would say even commit a jump to this, right? Because this bubble kind of isn't super good. It's great, but she can just walk out of it. Now imagine if we
Yeah,
just
it's quite scary to be honest.
it is
That's
definitely
why I
scary,
dropped it.
but we gotta recognize when our team is behind us and when they're able to, right? So as soon as you peek this corner, you're full HP. You see this? You see there's an Ashe. She's definitely gonna get
Yeah, I
care.
see that Ash.
So you just jump, do a mini jump forward, bubble her off, play in your bubble, right? Play around your bubble and use it. Use what's it called? Gosh, I'm blanking. Bubble strafe. What do they call it? Freaking strafe around
Bubble
your bubble.
dance.
Yeah, bubble dance. There you go. Bubble dance. Bubble this queen off and just hard pressure because she's gonna burn shout. She's gonna burn cooldowns. They already burned this Suzu, right? She's 1 HP and she dies.
Yeah.
And then now, as soon as that's done, now you can look wherever else and you're totally free, right? So obviously you're not gonna be able to queen. You're not gonna be able to kill queen most of the time, but forcing out those cooldowns, as soon as she uses shout or she uses axe, as queen you feel kind of useless, right? Because now when people run away from you, you have no shout, and when people come close to you, you're just shooting them with a shotgun. You're basically as useful as like a reaper or whatever, so they can play you like a reaper, right? The
Mhm.
the main strengths of queen is that she can combine her shout, her cooldowns together, and become unkillable for like decent periods of time. So we end up contesting this Ashe. Just confused. Oh, just kind of an off timing with our Echo. We're not able to. Our Echo went in first, and then we jumped in second. We kind of get punished for it a little bit, but it's fine. Oh, this is a really weird. Wait, this is a really weird fight so far. So
Yeah, I was not expecting that so just to pop out.
just one person used cooldowns, and then everyone just used ults and everything. Okay, so, huh, and it ends up working. So Obviously, we don't want to play on that left side as much with Monkey, just because there's no LOS with our Ana. But we do a good job of cleaning up. Okay. Our DPS kind of popped off. I'm not gonna say too much about that. I don't. Just kind of went super hectic.
Yeah, that's comp for you.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're still committing. Wait. Okay. At a certain point, obviously it's ranked. There are some things you can't control, but you can always control what you're doing, right? So if I see my Echo going in, and if she keeps going in, like just keep in mind, okay, I'm gonna need to fight this, right? To a certain extent, because this Echo wants to fight this, and if I give up this space, my Echo's gonna get pushed out, which happens. So it's not really like a on you thing, but the best thing to do when you've got DPS who just want to int is just try and go with them as much as possible. Because
Yeah, that
that's
makes
the
sense.
main way you're gonna get value. Because now you're like, oh crap, well I try to peel, but I'm 1 HP, and now I'm stuck here, and there's just a queen. I can't do anything. I'm 1 HP. There's a queen in my face. My echo inted. Oh no. But you know, if we went in, we controlled space maybe a little, but our echo play would have made a little bit more sense. Anyways, I think second point was definitely good though. We had a few good moments where we pressured out the queen. We took advantage of the antes. I also noticed you like to pressure this like really early on whenever they cap or anything, when they push up, kind of pressure in, which
Yeah, I kind of like to, I guess, take space off the bat.
so obviously in that specific scenario, this cart's gonna keep moving because when it gets to the gate,
Yeah.
it keeps moving. So maybe not the best decision, but also when you see what, because I like it that when we're pushing in, we understand that that's a scenario where we want to engage or make a play, right? Because that's when the enemy is their weakest, when they're not set up. They're trying to set up. However, right? Instead, let's move back a little bit and see if we could have, right? So I think we're just still coming off a spawn. We jump words. We just jump over kind of without looking, and we're just trying to
Yeah.
contest this. So I think a decent rule of thumb. So if I'm walking out here as Winston, just try and scout a bit for where we want to be, right? So I think blind jumps are every Winston maiden's worst enemy, right? You blind jump in, not really sure like where everyone is, and if you were to say like take a moment instead of just sitting here and waiting, come down here, look for a jump, play kind of an off angle. You see there's an Ash up top. This soldier maybe doesn't come back, but you hear him shooting. Now I'm like, okay, I can make a better jump right here, right? I can jump
Yeah, I think
at this
when I was
off.
at that glass, I did see them up there and also heard them, and that's why I went in.
That's what you went.
Uh, if
So
that makes sense.
so yeah, I mean, it for another case, if you want to control slash dive this space, I would just say be mindful of where our team is, right? Because
Yeah, I my intentions was, I guess, just to
yeah,
time waste or bait out anything or something. I kind of
I
knew my team was still at spawn.
I think my point here though is those are good plays, but we can make better plays, right? So if we waited like the 2 seconds, and then we dive over onto the Kyurko, maybe when they're more set up, um, it forces the Kyurko TP out or forces Suzu. The enemy team has to push back in. Then our team can take a better angle, right? Because what happens is you jump early, you jump back out, and our team's all sitting on low ground right here, and the enemy team, they did drop, but the enemy team can just kind of push into it. I don't think happens, but and then we do this jump again, and that's what I'm talking about, right? We force the Suzu, we force them to back up and kind of peel, and now our team can push forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm not criticizing for the first play. I'm just saying like the type of plays you want to look for in that early moment is probably this, probably
Yeah,
that.
that's fine.
Um, nice chase, nice kill on the Mercy. I will say when Mercy flies away, ooh, when Mercy flies away, you can always just. Oh, actually, she's 1 HP. That's a good call. I was gonna say you could turn on the Ash, but confirming on the Mercy is definitely way more value. So, and the
I think I
Primal.
got low there.
Oh yeah, no, the Primal's great. Want to confirm this fight, right? Perfect. Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. And then I think, yeah, I think now it's just about like how we position on this map, right? Because Winston, it's really hard for Winston to control the space he wants, right? Because you try and control like right here, it's very easy for them to walk up and brawl you out. If you want to
Yeah.
control right here, it's the same thing, right? And if you want to control here, so what you can do, right, is you can play like a kind of a soft soft blockade, like I don't know what you call it, soft engagements, right? So when they walk through, your main thing is you're building up to that primal again.
Mhm.
Building up
Yeah.
to your ults, building up to like your nano, whatever ultimates, right? As well as stopping the push. So playing here, right? We're playing right here. Something that will stop multiple lanes at once. You don't want them walking down and just taking space for free.
Mhm.
So yeah, let's just see that. I will say this point specifically feels worse for Winston, just because it's very kind of tight. Like you don't have a lot of space to move around,
Yeah.
and when you jump to a certain like to certain spots, or when you dive onto certain spots, there's not really like corners that you can easily.
I think it's alright if like behind you, like when it's pushed up like there, where like the enemy like past this, so like near
Faster
our spawn.
right
Yeah, like
here
around here. I
when you're
felt like this is like a good setup, but like
this is
over
much
there,
better.
not exactly great.
Yeah, so you kind of have to, if you're going to engage on any of these spots, you need to, like, it needs to be like kind of a more full commit engage, or you're kind of just playing kind of to pepper them a little bit and then jump out and play for safety. Uh, okay, so yeah, we get pushed out by D.Va really hard, right? So instead of,
Mhm.
I think as soon as we see this D.Va, what we can do is we can kind of run away from her, right? I don't know if we saw her for a second. I think we get the idea of maybe like, oh, maybe I should back out, right?
Yeah.
But instead, like, just hard play this kind of corner, right? This kind of corner. And if you see the soldier Kiriko, you walk at them, right? Don't jump in or like full commit, but walk at
Yeah.
them,
Get ready to jump out.
push them back out. Yeah, the D.Va comes to peel, and then we can jump over the D.Va or whatever back into our team this way. Because this right here, we're basically saying, okay, yeah, I want you to brawl at me, right? This is the brawling,
Yeah.
and then that we just get pushed out because it's D.Va, right? And then she does int. They bob as well, and this jump up top. I do like that jump. You boot the bob out, and now we hide. Bubble, good pressure on the soldier. Immediately we just need to go high ground. Perfect. And we're pushing with the Soj now. That's good. Really good. Obviously the D.Va kind of messed up there, but for sure we
Yeah.
played that. We
She
played
didn't.
played that well from the after the first fight or first engagement. Let me just get a little bit greedy, but that's fine. It happens. I would do it too. Not gonna lie. Okay. So now this is a poor scenario though, right? So we ended
Yeah.
up,
This is a bad setup.
yeah, really unfortunate for Winston dive. So main thing, we hit tab, we have Nano. We're pushing up for Nano. We push him out. I think just splitting. And we don't have to walk forward, right? Okay, we did confirm the Kiriko. Maybe we
That was
couldn't.
because she didn't cleanse. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we managed to confirm the Kiriko. That's great. The main thing with Nano, unless you can confirm a kill, which thankfully you did there, but you're still gonna take a ton of damage, right? With your Nano.
Mhm.
So your main thing is when you pop a bubble or whatever, keep holding this corner because you become a just like a full on laser. Like you're the car wash, right? You're just holding this corner and they can't do anything to push forward into you, right? Because if they DM, they shield, they whatever, there are no resources that can deny your cleave when they push through. So confirming was perfect there, but if you can't find that confirmed kill on the Nano, it's good to just be kind of that blockade or just that kind of cleaving machine, right? You don't
Yeah.
you can brawl super hard there. with your bubble specifically. So they end up getting the res, which obviously we can't really control that. It's around the corner, and then here, good dive on the high ground, right? That's our main priority. And I would say we kind of give up on this a little bit, which the diva can't fly, so that's fine. Just make sure you push out the Ashe, or if we jump on the high ground and we don't want to fully commit, just jump onto like a position here where you're not able to get shot at by multiple angles.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't particularly like, I guess, going down that corridor,
Oh,
especially when they have like a diva.
yeah, this corridor sucks. But what I'm saying is like, let me show you from this angle, because we kind of back up here and we let this Ashe walk back up. That's what I'm saying, right? So we want to hold this and then save our jump to back out when the diva peels, which just make sure the Ashe specifically can't push back in, because as soon as you turn around after you
Yeah,
jump up, she's gonna walk back in. Yeah. Okay. No, but this third point honestly is like pretty perfect all around. From what I think we played this quite well. It does help like the enemy team is kind of just not abusing high ground. So if they abused high ground, you might get more issues. But I think all the dives have been pretty spot on. And then with the primal, we can just confirm this mercy. As long as she dies, we just okay. Oh yeah, great. I think definitely I mean, obviously we have no issues with mechanics as I thought, but the main thing is like just how we want to drop, especially on defense, right? Winston's a character that works really well with just jumping to take space, but controlling space on Winston is where the issues lie, right? Which is really need to be tight around playing corners, managing your resources, as well as like understanding where your team is, where the enemy team wants to play for, as well as what positions can you take and control on defense, right?
Yeah,
That's
that
where the
makes sense.
issues lie. Which I think see how we play our attack, but I think probably you're experiencing the most issues on the defensive sides, right? Where you're trying
Yeah,
to,
usually it's better on attack.
because here, like look how much more oppressive this is, right? You dive on the Ashe is forced to kind of give up that space because there's especially when you have double flyer, and then now there's so much more room for you to dive.
Yeah,
Her
definitely.
Anna does fall. Okay, and you really don't have to do anything but sit up here, right? As long as you want to sit and control space. Even like if we do a dive here, yeah. So it works. Hmm. Dang. Wait. How did? Were they both super low?
Yeah, I saw them low when I went
Oh,
in.
okay. Well, good eye then. Oh yeah, the fair hits a good shot. Dang. Good. But I mean, obviously here confirm the kills for sure, but you really don't need to be. I see a lot of Winstons like feel forced to always jump. I think I had this issue as well. It's a very good habit to just, if the card's moving, there's no danger from the enemy team, and we can just take advantage of just chilling and kind of like poking a little bit. We don't need to go in on Winston. Always take that
Yeah, I
advantage,
think
right?
when you go back,
Hmm?
I think when I rotated to main, I assumed the enemy team would be going up those stairs altogether, so I was kind of looking for staggers,
Oh yeah, yeah.
if that makes
So basically
sense.
right here, looking for
Uh, right here when I drop. So I assume
uh
the whole enemy team would be walking up there. That's
oh,
why I
walking
kind of looked for a
upstairs.
stagger.
Yeah. So I mean,
But they didn't.
yeah, it's good to look, and I think so. Right here, right? So you're not gonna get these comms like if people are low in ranked. So it's good to scout for yourself. So this drop right here, and when you're looking, is perfect, because if you were playing super far back and just AFKing on cart, which you're not supposed to, right? That's not what I'm saying at all.
Yeah.
You would not see any of this, right? But like, imagine if they were all full HP for a second, they're not getting pressured really. If you made that jump, obviously it would have been bad. So what we can do on Winston is always just look to control space, right? So right now, here, I'm gonna do some hypothetical. They're all kind of playing here and playing right here as Winston. When cart is not at a position where we want to dive, what we can do is see what space they control, what we They control this area, and we control nothing at this point. Just this high ground, and just right here.
Yeah.
So when we're looking, right, what space do they control? What space do we want to control? Well, I know my Anna's gonna be like on cart, sitting here, right? So as Winston, I want to control all of here, right? I just want to put pressure on this space because that's where the cart's gonna push through. So,
Yeah.
what's my jump? Well, I'm gonna jump right here, right, and play this pillar. Because now, if the enemy team wants to push in, I can collapse. If they want to back out, I can also get value, right? Does that make sense? I think
Yeah, that makes
this
sense.
is a really good practice because if you need to back out as well, you don't have your cooldowns for whatever reason, there's a spot for you to back out, right? Or you're probably gonna have jump though. So it's very you can play the map like really well on Winston, and when you're playing the map really well, it just feels like you're everywhere, but you're not. You don't have to move, right? You're just in the right place at the right time, basically.
Yeah, I like the Rotor map, especially with Winston.
Dorado with
The
Winston is
classic.
so fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun. I pull out the Diva sometimes here, but only when I'm like Winstoned out, which is very rare, very rare. Winston's like my most favorite hero. So now here, there's gonna be a little bit tough, right? Good pressure, good attempt to pressure on the Mercy. Kind of too far, but unlucky. So they're obviously really heavily controlling this. Obviously, keep pressuring. We don't even need to burn bubble until we pressured, right? We don't necessarily want to because that could be a go button for them. That could be an engagement tool for them. Goodbye, Echo. Dang. Double flyer, man.
Yeah,
The
I feel like
problem.
we go back. Like I kept, if that makes sense, just jumping up and dropping because the diva forces me out. Do
Yeah.
I like do that? Is that fine, or do I like maybe go around and
So
look to dive this back line?
so what happens when you dive the backline, right? Unless you instantly confirm this diva is gonna push back into you and push you into them, right? So that
Yeah.
jump is perfectly fine. What I would even say is if you manage to get a jump right here, and let's say the diva's like playing right here, what you can do is you can just jump up and immediately drop back down and run back to your team, right? Because you're not looking to
That's fine.
you're not looking to confirm, you're not looking to build really ults, necessarily your ult. Your main thing here is like, let's say soccer, right, or something. You can check with the arm, right, when you're playing a sport to a certain extent before it becomes illegal. That's basically what you're doing here, right? You don't want the enemy to make a move, so what you're doing is you're moving first, quote unquote, but all you're doing is pressuring, right? Keeping pressure, because it threatens the diva to, if she wants to go in. Well, I know this Winston's right here, and he keeps jumping at my team, right? So what they're gonna do is they're gonna turn at you, but what that allows is your Echo gets more value, everyone else gets more value, right? So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, so this is good for sure. I will say though, it's a bit of a harder. It's an okay angle for Yana. You want to do it while the cart's moving. My point, right? Because right now we're just burning resources and there's nothing happening, right? We're
Yeah.
building ults, but there's no purpose. When the cart's moving though, if the cart's under here and you're doing the same thing, now the team's like, oh well, I need to go, but the Winston keeps jumping and the cart's moving, like everything's happening. I need to
Mhm.
do something, and that's where you force like poor judgment, basically. That's your main goal. You're not trying to get anything done at this point. Now, when the cart's, let's say right here, and they're kind of pushing back, okay, maybe we have a nano, or maybe we want to hard commit there.
Yeah.
I like that we're doing Dorada. This is a good map to.
Yeah, it's lucky I got it just before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as soon as the Pharah gets the kill, we know we can full jump because we know the Diva's gonna have to peel. She's worried about her backline, and even if we die here, there's so much space provided, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And I assume this might just become a wash just because enemy team's kind of feeling like, holy, I don't know what to do. Double flyer. Yeah. And we're kind of tunneling a little bit. You notice that? I feel like we're
Am I
tunneling
what?
off, tunnel vision, tunneling. Sorry,
Oh,
like
what on the Mercy?
yeah, a little bit. So we jump here, we get the nano, and then like look what we're doing, right?
Yeah, I turned. I guess I assume we would have killed her there.
I, yes, but also
That's.
you're
Hmm.
as Winston. I'm obviously quote unquote diving the mercy, but you're not always diving the mercy to get the mercy dead, if that makes sense. Because when you dive her, she's forced to fly away, right? And that's when you can turn on whoever she's pocketing or whoever, right? Because if she flies away, she's leaving someone behind usually, right? And that's the person you want to
Hmm.
look at. So in this moment, see the mercy, turn on the soldier. When you get your jump again, then you can look at the mercy, right? Think of
Yeah.
it like that. Because at this point, you're just like, well, you're doing damage. It's decent damage because you're nanoed, but like this mercy's kind of distracting everyone, and the fact that she distracted you for so long allows the soldier to take high ground, allows the Ash to take high ground, and now it looks like a bad position for your double flyer team, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Good play where you're fair though. Commit to an angle. But yeah, that's the thing, right? When so you can also learn from this fair for a little bit, like because everything's so split and everything's split up. The main thing is committing onto a spot that's gonna be an LOS and gonna be in a diveable position, right? So here, I think we're just chasing to force these supports out. But sure, you can get value, but realistically, if you initiate a proper dive, these supports are not gonna be able to care enough, right? So if we full dive this soldier or full commit onto some target, one target with three people here, technically, this soldier's gonna die, right? So I think I sometimes we kind of just default to hard tunnel visioning the supports, but in
Yeah, that's what I
reality,
usually do.
yeah, in reality we need to be a little bit more flexible with our targeting, right? Because we end up chasing, the far eventually does make a play, but it's too slow, right? If we cared a bit, if we helped with the dive, we could turn around and then we keep trading, because it becomes a trade battle, and we traded quite slow, right? Because we chased the Kiriko a little bit too far, and the Kiriko didn't even like get her cooldowns really full, died. This third point especially, it's a position where if you don't have decent target focus and clean up, you can easily like just get held here for a long period of time, which I hope doesn't happen. That always sucks on Dorado. Gas here. Russian cart, I like this. Good dive, very good dive. I think we're chasing. You know who we're chasing. So we're doing a lot of full jumps, right? I want us to get into a habit of half jumping, right? Because I think you're trying to get landing, right? You're trying to land it like immediately on someone to get that extra landing damage. Is that kind of like our idea here? Because I see we do a lot of
Um,
like, I don't
yeah,
know.
I think I was looking to jump the high grounds because of the Kiri, and
Oh,
then
and then she
when she
dropped.
dropped,
Oh, she
I
dropped the
dropped
same
before it.
instant. Okay, well that makes sense.
If that makes
No,
sense.
that makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay, I didn't fully see that.
No, that's fine.
The main thing I'm thinking of though is whenever you just see a target, just slow jump to it to close distance, right? Especially when we have primal, we just want to keep forcing this target to a singular direction, and then we can chase with primal. We because sometimes I'll see Winston's will just like full jump or like jump directly on, and then targets will just run away or get there's like a slight boopage from when Winston's like jump on people.
Uh
So
huh.
people
Yeah,
people will
I get
jump
that.
on, and then they'll just run away, and then the Winston can't chase because he burned jump.
Yeah.
Okay. Please tell me you don't get full health or on this point.
No, I think we win after
Okay.
this one. It was a nice game.
Okay. I'm saying that because I have PTSD of getting full health because I didn't jump correctly or I didn't like dive well. It just snowballed. Dang. Okay. So we're chasing Mercy. Back right. I think this is good. just need to force. We're holding primal a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think the last two fights weren't exactly the best
Yeah,
um
I think
opportunity. Right.
sometimes when because everything's breaking down, right? You like I can understand why we're kind of like just jumping to a spot, we hit a bubble, and then we're like, okay, well they ran away. Like, what do I do now? Because everyone's like all over the place, right? So I think main thing here is when that's happening, when everything's kind of breaking down, just find someone you want to hard chase that's in a respectable, right? Right. And just commit the primal, commit the jump, commit the bubble, just confirm a kill, right? Because at a certain point, we're in this like mindset where we're just like jumping for a space, and then we just give up the space and we default back to cart, right?
I think I backed up because Valk. Typically, when the Mercy's Valk, like I won't kill anything if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, for sure, and I understand that, but also we're giving up space. I think that's what I'm mainly saying, right? We obviously we want to push card. That's the main objective of the game, but we keep like jumping in like back and back, and then give up this space. Always look for control space and then jump. Right? Instead of just we take space, we get a cooldown out or Valk or whatever, and then we back out. We just need to be more. Anyway, and then we commit back onto the Ash. Like once again, it's kind of just becomes okay. Well, we're diving, but like we're unable to confirm like it's a 2v4 at this point, which we did good with the primal, but just we're down too much. Enemy team can just back
Yeah.
out and well, and obviously you don't have the best necessary dive targets as far as decent for helping with the dive, but you don't have anyone necessarily full follow up, so you're mostly diving for space, which is good. This is good. This is perfect, right? We're just sitting here. We're controlling. They hit it. We just nanoed our own Reaper, but it becomes a 2v2 back up and facing Kiriko. It's a little bit all over the place, but I think the main win condition here and the way we won this fight is we denied this Ashe, right, for so long, where
Yeah,
she had to come back to main.
yeah. I think that was probably my main focus for that
Sure.
is just to deny the DPS on the high grounds.
Yeah, because if you're sitting here and controlling and they back off, at a certain point you're gonna be able to push back in. It's just about sitting here and being that presence to control, right? Because this Ashe is gonna want to shoot people, right? She hates shooting at this one monkey who has this bubble up. Like it's so annoying, right? So she's gonna want to rotate and push around to take a different angle, and that's when you can reposition. But just try not
Hmm.
to reposition early and give up space that the enemy team actually wants to control, right?
Yeah.
That's good though. And then for this third point, this push up is great because we have this Reaper Fire, right? This is exactly where we want to be. I would say don't give it up. I don't know if we will jump out. Yeah, perfect, right? We get the heals, we come back. Come right back. Just hold the stroke. And then I think we just get the point off this, right? The Reaper pushes through, makes the right play. Trades for one. And then I don't push through here, right? We need to control this space. Right? Don't look for kills, look for control. Because when the monkey jumps, someone needs to follow, so then you block off that heal. Ooh. Wait, oh crap, okay. Let's
Yeah.
let's break it down. Let's break it down. So the
Yeah.
Reaper,
So
I think this is
uh,
the right play. Right, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. So when the monkey jumped, I kind of jumped with him and then blocked off his heels with the bubble. I feel like that was the right choice.
Um
I
so
just kind of wanted.
so yes, in the sense but like in the context of like the healers they have, right? Kiriko obviously has ranged heals, but the main thing she's gonna do is she's gonna TP on the monkey and cleanse, right? So our main thing is we want to force cooldowns more than just block off heals in the sense. And when we block off heals, bubble's great. I don't want to really burn bubble like that, right? Just to place it down. I want to do it with a purpose, right? So when I see this Kiriko, this Echo, this Mercy pushing forward, I'm gonna push one of them and just hard shoot. When they fly in, I'm gonna jump on them, bubble them, isolate them, and confirm this kill, right? Because I think this idea is we're just bubbling and then we're pressuring this monkey. But in reality, like, you're not gonna be able to kill in this scenario, right? Just because you obviously don't have your DPS with you because your Reaper made the play from earlier and your Pharah's kind of holding this. So it's not bad play per se, but the better play is look for the confirm on the squishy, right? Because what happens is the monkey gets jump. If he didn't want to full contest point here, the right jump for him is he jumps over here and plays this corner, and now he's still contesting cart, right? But he's at a safer position. And now what do you have to do? Well, if I want to chase him, I'm gonna have to push around this corner, right? And then it becomes a bad push for you, right? And he's safe. So a lot of things are up in the air. So it's not necessarily a terrible play, but what you want to do is you want to confirm a squishy kill, right? As they're pushing back. Because what happens sometimes is you pressure this Winston or this tank, whoever, but they're a tank, right? They've got abilities that can help them survive or back out. And eventually the squishies come back, and the squishies are the ones who are going to make the big plays, right? The tank is just there to distract. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do you have any questions or like concerns about that or like disagreements? I'm all for like explaining my thinking because sometimes I'm not the
Yeah,
best.
so I feel like, yeah, so when the monkey jumps, just, I guess, hold the door with the Pharaoh, no? Maybe walk in, place a bubble,
Yeah, because
something like that.
you're giving up this space, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
yeah. Obviously, you're aiming to clear cart, right? You want to force cart, but or focus cart, but that allows the enemy team to push forward, take this space, right? Because if you think of it just from the space angle, gave this up for this, right? And then they control this, and you just control this. So while maybe trade this monkey, right? But now you are pushing in, and there's a whole like area where people there's an echo here or there's an echo up top, the cast right here, and now you're like, oh crap, well I'm pushing into all of that, right? It becomes a harder position for you. Where if you control this, then the enemy's like, okay, well I can't push into this, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of that idea.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So the win condition for here, sure, as the cart gets super close, right? So obviously it's gonna be high ground. We want to get them off this high ground, as well as forcing this monkey out, give us space for our DPS to walk in. How we do that? Basically, we want to, as a team, full force this monkey out, and then we want to jump top in that specific way. Let's just see what happens. Right? Monkey's kind of playing well. He's playing in a good angle. He commits the bubble a little early. We jump first. Now the peel comes through, right? And then we pop the primal. So notice how because we went before the monkey got forced, the monkey does peel for us and then boops us off, obviously hits us with a slam as well as the damage, and it becomes like we're 1 HP, we have to pop the primal. Now imagine if we played a little bit slower, pressure this monkey out, right, and then jumped on, it'd be much easier for us.
Yeah, yeah, that definitely makes sense.
But very good primal though. That was really good. Good juggle. And at this point we need to also identify threats, right? So good primal on the supports to an extent. However, identifying what's gonna win them the fight. The support's living for sure. Secondary is gonna be the person making plays, which at this point is the echo, right? So collapsing on this echo here. As soon as you hear the copy go off, because I mean, could have copied Winston instead. That probably would have been best. But we need a peel for that and that off, right? Because we're not
Yeah,
gonna kill the
I think
Valkyrie.
I think I was focusing on the res
Possibly,
quite a
yeah.
lot there.
That is fair as well. Oh, she ends up getting it off. You guys didn't focus. Your team didn't focus. um, yeah. No, I think perfect. Perfect. Like on the last point, I like how we're diving and like how we're not scared to go like past and kind of control the space and then meet up with our team. Um, main thing is just making sure we force stuff before we commit to an engagement, you know? Because I feel like sometimes on Winston we just feel like we can jump wherever, and then we get forced out and we're like, okay, well I'm just gonna back out, right? But we could do so much more with our engagement in the sense of forcing people out, forcing cooldowns out, and then making our engagements much more effective.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like, I guess jumping in with a purpose, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
rather than jumping in because you can.
Whenever I'm committing a jump cooldown, I'm always thinking, okay, what's the point, right? What am I doing? Because obviously you can jump and figure it out, but by that point, right, you're taking a ton of damage. So it's always what cooldowns do they have? What did we force out? Okay, where am I gonna jump? What space do I want to control? But yeah, I think that's all I have for this map. Uh, you have another map for me to look at because time. But otherwise, we can go over. I'm not sure. Whatever you'd like to go over, I guess. Any remaining questions?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not sure what else to go over. Do you have anything?
Uh, instant. Um, not quite. I think I covered pretty much all. I mean, overall, like mechanically, there's literally like no complaints. Like I think the jumps are pretty on point. What I would say is try mixing in more. Go into practice. Um, try mixing in more soft jumps, right? So, whenever we're engaging on Winston, try and find a way to explain this. Yeah. So when there's an engagement target, right? I think tend to do a lot of like just I'm jumping on, I'm just squishing, right? But think about right what space you control, obviously. So if there's like a team behind me, as well as like what corners I'm trying to like back this squishy into, because if you're jumping like an Ash or a soldier or whatever, they have that ability with their shift or their run or their legs or cast as a roll, whatever to disengage from you. So you're always trying to like soft dive, kind of push them out, kind of push them backwards, right? Because if you jump forward, there's a chance they could run past you and then meet up with their team or whatever. So try and
Yeah.
mix in like full on slams and like sometimes just soft dives and like pressuring, because most of the time people are not going to want to duel you as much unless they have like help with their team, so they're going to want to back off and give space. Um, as well as just think about what you're cutting off with your bubble, right? I think a lot of time we're just using our bubble for ourselves, but think about like if there's someone I want to dive, maybe I want to jump past, bubble them here, and then back them this way, as well as like if there's someone who's got an issue like a queen, maybe I'll run at them super hard, try and bait an axe or cooldown, jump up or jump back, play my bubble, play like this, bubble dance a little bit, play backwards, take space, and then if I really need to back out, I can jump high ground myself. But something like that. I think with Queen and Diva, main thing is gonna be not so much Diva because her cooldowns come back really fast, but for Queen specifically cooldowns, and for Diva specifically, you want to fight her with your team and around corners.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like with Jungle Queen, what I usually do is I guess I kind of avoid, if that makes sense.
It's good to avoid. I think avoiding Queen is good, but the thing is, really good queens will take advantage of that and be like, okay, well the monkey's gonna jump in anyways. I'm just gonna hard trade, right? And as good as you might be on Winston, you're probably not gonna be able to hard trade with a queen who's just gonna axe your DPS and like pull them towards her and one shot her, you know?
Yeah, she is very, I guess,
Yeah,
buffed out right now.
yeah, for sure. They're gonna nerf her shout heal, but they're not nerfing her damage or her bleed, so keep that in mind. Um, So when you're coming around a corner, you see a queen, try and back her off with your zaps, obviously. make her pressure out or shout with your team. If she pushes forward, right, you can have the ability to be that barricade with your team, right? And if she tries to hit you with an axe, you can jump up a little bit, right, and kind of splat back down on her and keep pressuring, play her in corner, back up, right? If she's trying to push forward, maybe she's pushing really hard with shout, right? Maybe I want to just jump past bubble, and then now she's trying to axe my team, and I can shoot her from back, and I split off her heals, right? So there's a lot you can do. Obviously, sometimes it's best to just go in and try and get a dive going, but you know, sometimes you do need to deal with the queen. There's quite a ways you can do that, right? With your bubble, with your jumps, and just pressuring her and not trying to full fight. Right?
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess when you're like face to face with a queen, it's a bit tough because like as soon as like she throws a knife on you, like it's a very bad position for you.
Yeah, so
If that
that's
makes
that's
sense.
the thing, right? You're a
So I
big
feel like
body.
maybe it's just like a insta bubble as soon as you like see her.
So with the knife, you're once you get knifed, I can't really explain this like very well. When you get knifed, there's like a timer. Obviously, queen can't hold the knife on you
Mhm.
forever. So what you're trying to do is you get knifed, you're backing up, and try not to jump, obviously, because she's just gonna pull you.
Yeah,
Try and not invest the bubble. Try and back around corners. And what you can do, let's say there's a queen right there, where I'm pinging right here, right? If I back around the corner, he tries to hit the knife. Maybe I just go like this, like crouch. Crouching helps because when you get pulled, there's sometimes just like elevation, so you'll get stopped early. Or you can back around the corner like this, and if she pulls you, you go like this and kind of like push into a wall. There's some little things you can do. But try not to burn jump, obviously, because she'll pull you back, and try not to burn
yeah,
bubble too early. Right, because bubble's very important, especially in the versus queen.
yeah. That makes sense.
I want to try and show you what I mean by the. Have you seen that with knife? Like, let's say there's a queen right sitting right on top of this. If I was to get pulled from right here and I'm crouching, I would not move. Like, have you seen that? It's
No, I definitely don't do that. When you're crouched, Kiwi can't TP to you. By the way, if you didn't know,
really,
it's a very weird glitch. Yeah,
huh? I did not know that.
yeah.
Wait, that's so weird. Even like as a
hmm
tank,
It's Winston.
as
I don't know
Winston
about the
only.
rest.
I didn't know that.
I, yeah, it happens in my scrims.
That's crazy. Wait, that is really weird. Okay, well, I guess I should be careful when I crouch as Winston. They fixed that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Jeez. Okay. Well, you taught me something. That's not how this is supposed to work.
Yeah, the roles change.
Anyways, if you have any more questions, but that's about all I got for you today.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, it seemed very helpful.
Awesome. Yeah, I hope I highlighted just some things we could work on, for sure. I mean, as you get more used to against Queen, because this is like the first comp season that people are like fully playing Queen the entire way, so really good like time to get experience and like understand the dynamics of Winston versus Queen and how you can like interact with Queen and what you can do, you know. So definitely use it as a learning experience for the future. This in ranked rooms, etc.
Yeah, I mean, I've played a lot of games with Queen this season.
Well, thank you. I'll catch you later. I hope that was
Yeah, thank you very much. It was very helpful. Thank you.
right.
All right, see you later. Thank you.
All right. Freaking tired. I'm so tired. I hope you could hear the Discord properly. I hope so. I don't know if I'm making that into a video. Dude, I needed to make my thumbnail for my other video. Oh my god. Tired. Ah. Ah. Oh well. Well, I'm probably not gonna continue streaming. I'm probably gonna end because that's yeah. I'm gonna go drink water and like lie down. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in, everyone. I appreciate it. I hope Stream was good. I hope the audio was coming through okay because I couldn't really check. I was in the middle of something, so goodbye.